that might happen?
I will not be surprised if there will be some upgrade of the relations, but I will be very surprised if it's going to be going all the way up to normalization and peace treaty and all that. Not yet, as long as King Salman, old guard, is still there. MBS, his son, would be very much willing to go much, much quicker.
So let's try to frame this. What could happen if these things are really, in the making with the triangle of the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel?
Well, firstly, Yaakov, we have to remember that between Saudi Arabia and Israel, there has never been any conflict, not in terms of military, we don't share borders, never there were any Saudi soldiers sent to fight against us. There were Moroccans, there were Iraqis, others, but never Saudis. Also, if we talk about the flashpoint, which is Jerusalem, Saudi Arabia is not interested in Jerusalem. They have
their own.
Yes, they have, right. They have the two highest holy places in Islam, Mecca and Medina. So it's not a matter of custodianship like with the King Abdullah of Jordan. So it does make sense that relationship would kind of move forward. Of course, there was always the Arab solidarity, always there was the fear of the Saudis, like all the other Arab countries, that the Palestinians will stir up the population against their own governments if they make any rapprochement with Israel, but no more. And certainly, the peace treaties with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain could not have been, taken place without the nod from Saudi Arabia. So now it seems like that Biden would like to kind of build on the Abraham Accord and upgrade and enlarge it, or and deepen it with Saudi Arabia. And it comes together with a very, very strategic and political need of the United States and Biden to have the Saudis back in their corner, and especially with increased production of oil.
Of gas. So let's see who's going to give what in order for this to happen. Okay, so you've mentioned the Saudis, gas. What about human rights, maybe? Biden gives the Saudis some sort of a kosher certificate, right?
Exactly.
So let's go through this.
So first of all, Israel has something very tangible to give to the Saudis, which is the two islands which are actually controlling the not just the Suez Canal, but the Straits of Tiran. All the way to Eilat and Aqaba in the Red Sea. There are two islands which were returned to Saudi Arabia by Egypt about 5 years ago. From long time, it is a Saudi territory. But the peace treaty that we had with Egypt in 1979 included these two islands, where Israel insisted on peacekeeping forces there, on the islands which continue to be there. If the islands go to Saudi Arabia, they are there. I mean, basically, de jure, they're there de facto, but they're not all sovereign over it as long as they're peacekeeping forces. So they need Israel's consent as part of the peace treaty with Israel.
And Israel can give that.
Israel can give that. Israel can give that, and this is something very, very meaningful to the Saudis. It's territory. What Israel can get from the Saudis, of course, is first of all fly rights. Right now, only flights that go to Dubai from Israel go over the Saudi airspace, but we would like all flights.
That will give a corridor from Israel to the Far East, which now Israeli planes go all the way around the peninsula.
Well, at the end of the road, Israel, of course, would like to exchange ambassadors, just like we did with Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the Emirates. But this is, I think, long time in waiting, because when it comes to the intelligence and security or defense cooperation, this is already there pretty much.
Right. And the Americans, how will they play that?
Well, I think it's too bad that Biden had to postpone his visit. I think it's mostly because of personal needs, nothing else. He can kind of focus on one thing at a time. It's also at his age, is very, very grueling to go on, transatlantic flights. He has to be there for very major meetings where you will have to have all his faculties in Spain and in France, NATO and the 7 industrial countries. But what he would like to see is really back the better relations with the Saudis.